What is the world's best performing currency now? I have a question for you that I'd want to ask you right now. What is the world's best performing currency now? Your first idea may be the United States dollar, the euro, Japan's yen, or even the British pound. But let me tell you that all of these currencies, including the British pound, are being eclipsed by one particular currency. Good morning, and thank you for joining me for today's movie. In it, we discuss things such as, what is the world's best performing currency now? However, before we go any further, make sure that you have subscribed to my channel and click the bell button, so that you will be notified every time I release a new video. Enjoying yourselves thus far? It would be much appreciated if you could click the thumbs up button and let your friends know about it. Let's get this show on the road. Don't act so surprised. The correct response is, the Afghani is the country's official currency. The Afghani is now the performer with the best record. The Afghani is now the most valuable currency in circulation. Its value rose in 2022, and it has continued to rise against the US dollar ever since, by a total of 9%. As a result, the Afghani has been the most successful currency in this quarter. How about the current year? The value has climbed by 14% since 2023, which is not a terrible thing. The only two currencies that are considered to be more valuable than the Afghani are the Colombian peso and the Sri Lankan rupee. Let's take a closer look at these numbers in light of the fact that the Taliban have made a comeback. The value of the Afghani had significantly decreased at the time, and $1 was equivalent to around 104 Afghanis. At the current exchange rate, $1 is equivalent to around 78 Afghanis, making it a more valued currency than the Indian rupee. The currency has made tremendous progress toward recovery. Yet, the question remains as to why this occurred. Have the Taliban recently brushed up on their knowledge of macroeconomics? Certainly not, but after they had been deposed, they wanted to maintain influence over the Afghan people and hence enacted certain laws in order to do so. The Taliban have declared their opposition to the use of the US money. The usage of these currencies for commercial purposes was made illegal in Pakistan in 2021, and the local population was prohibited from using them. Because Afghanistan has made it illegal to use any foreign money, the local currency, the Afghani, is the only alternative for individuals living there. If you want to purchase anything from the local markets, you must use the Afghani. These new regulations also apply to business conducted through the internet. You really must know the rationale behind the Taliban's decision to outlaw online forex trading in the year 2022. The Taliban have declared that participating in the foreign exchange market is forbidden in Islam. Full points are awarded for originality in this case. The Taliban may be able to provide the Chinese Communist Party with some competition, even though the surge will eventually reach a peak. The economic situation in Afghanistan will continue to be very precarious. The unemployment rate is over the roof, and around two-thirds of the homes here are struggling to make ends meet. Because the Taliban does not have a significant amount of money to begin with, they are unable to provide any assistance. Since the end of 2021, the United Nations has been making efforts to assist Afghanistan over the course of 18 months by dispatching planes carrying significant amounts of cash to the country. Because Afghanistan does not have access to the international financial system, the monetary resources must be delivered through airplane. Once they were in Kabul, what did the Taliban do with the money once it was in their possession? The dollars were then translated into the Afghani, which is Afghanistan's currency, and then they were released into the market. Because the United Nations provided US dollars and bought Afghanis in return for those dollars. You might argue that the UN also had a role in maintaining the value of the Afghani in some manner. The United States of America came to the conclusion that Afghanistan's central bank does not operate independently, because there are no checks and balances in place. Washington was afraid that the money may end up in the wrong hands. Measures and restrictions to prevent and detect money laundering. After all, a terrorist organization now controls this nation. The United States should not have anticipated anything different. As a direct consequence of this, the Taliban will keep pressing for further assistance despite the fact that millions of Afghans will continue to endure hardship. A robust national currency is normally a source of national pride. Yet, for the Taliban, Having a robust Afghani is analogous to possessing a rifle that is incapable of firing. The governing Taliban, who have been in power for the last 2 years, have also implemented a number of steps to maintain a stranglehold on the Afghani currency. These efforts include the prohibition of the use of dollars and Pakistani rupees in local transactions, as well as the tightening of limits on the exportation of greenbacks from the nation. It has criminalized the practice of doing business online and threatened anyone who break the regulations with jail time. According to statistics collated by Bloomberg, the currency regulations, cash inflows, and other transfers have helped the Afghani soar roughly 9% this quarter. This is an increase that outpaces other currencies' gains, such as the 3% gain seen by the Colombian peso. The Afghani has appreciated by almost 14% so far this year, placing it in third place among all currencies in the world, only behind the currencies of Colombia and Sri Lanka. The fact that the currency's losses have been reduced in half since the change in government, however, conceals the enormous upheaval that continues on the ground, despite the fact that Afghanistan is largely shut off from the global financial system as a result of sanctions. Since the end of 2021, the economy has been in a terrible state for at least 18 months, with some people having a net worth of up to $40 million. Unemployment is at an all-time high. 2/3 of families struggle to purchase basic things, and inflation has changed into deflation. According to Cameron Bakari, an expert in Middle Eastern, Central and South Asian politics at the Washington Institution, the hard currency controls are working, but the economic, social, and political instability will render this rise in the currency as a short-term phenomenon. Most transactions involving foreign currency are now conducted in Afghanistan by money changers, known as serifs in the country. These individuals set up booths in marketplaces or run their businesses from stores located in towns and villages. The busy open-air market Sarai Shahzada in Kabul is the de facto financial capital of the nation, where the equivalent of tens of millions of dollars are exchanged each and every day. According to the statements made by the central bank, there are no restrictions placed on trade. Because of the financial restrictions, practically all of the money that people send to their families in Afghanistan now goes via the Hawala system, which has been around for hundreds of years and is used in many locations, including the Middle East. The Saraf's business relies heavily on Hawala as a primary transaction method. What does the future have in store for the economy of Afghanistan? According to the article, the United Nations, UN, which calculated that Afghanistan need around $3.2 billion in help this year, has deployed approximately $1.1 billion of that amount. According to the Financial Tracking Service of the Global Organization, in the previous year, the organization spent around $4 billion in response to the fact that half of Afghanistan's 41 million people were in danger of dying from famine. The World Bank anticipates that the economy will cease falling this year and will show growth of 2% to 3% until 2025, despite the fact that it warned of concerns such as a decline in foreign assistance as the Taliban tightens its harassment of women. Additionally, new banknotes were issued for use throughout the country by the Taliban in the previous year. According to Anwita Basu, head of Europe National Risk at BMI in London, tightened restriction on foreign exchange transactions and a very gradual improvement in trade are pushing up demand for the Afghani. According to her predictions, the value of the Afghani will most likely remain stable at the present level till the end of the year. Inflationary pressures caused by vital imports for Afghanistan, such as oil, may be mitigated by a stronger currency, which is especially important when the price of a barrel of crude oil approaches $100. On the other side, the government of the Taliban, which is short on funds, is trying to attract investment into the country's abundant resources, such as lithium, which are together believed to be worth as much as $3 trillion. Contracts worth $6.5 billion were awarded this month to create large-scale iron, ore, and gold mines. Chinese, British, and Turkish corporations were all engaged in the construction of these mines. In addition, the Taliban came to an agreement with a Chinese corporation in January about the production of oil. In the meanwhile, Pakistani funds that have been smuggled into Afghanistan have provided the Taliban with another vital source of support in recent months. According to Hasibullah Nouri, a spokesperson for Afghanistan Bank, the central bank of the nation, the bank is holding auctions to raise up to $16 million almost every week in order to stabilize the currency. It is essential to keep in mind that this circumstance is fast morphing, and it is possible that the Afghanis' performance may alter in the near or distant future. The video will not continue further this point today. Observing it was a delight. I'll see you in the subsequent film. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, showing it to your friends, and giving it a like. The fact that you continue to watch is very much appreciated. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.